Hello and welcome to the Biosero webinar, Bring Clarity to Your Laboratory Operations with Green Button Go Automation Scheduling Software. My name is Ruth Petersen. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Biosero, and it's my pleasure to be moderating this event. Today we'll hear from our lead software engineer, Corey McCoy, about the latest advancements for Green Button Go software. Before we begin, I'd like to ask that if you've not already, please answer the poll questions set forth in the sidebar, and feel free to use the chat and question tabs throughout the talk to share and pose questions. Now, let me introduce Corey McCoy, lead software engineer for Biosero. Since 2011, Corey has contributed to all major development initiatives for Biosero Green Button Go software and is currently the development manager for the platform. He's responsible for building the product roadmap in addition to overseeing testing and bug resolution. Previously, as a programmer for Biosero, Corey developed automation solutions for both enterprise and small-scale customers. Over to you, Corey.
Hey everybody, Corey McCoy here, and thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited to share with you the new feature set in Green Button Go 6.0. For anybody who may be joining us who's not real familiar with Green Button Go, I will give a real brief overview of the product, and then we'll dive into this new feature set, which is mostly about the schedule tab and how we schedule runs ahead of time. So, first of all, as a scientist, when I come in and open Green Button Go in the morning, all I have to do to get it going is simply press play, select the method that I want to run, hit OK, and in this case, I've also defined a user input screen that's going to prompt me for all necessary data points for this particular run. Number of source plates, we'll do 6 for this particular iteration of this plate reformat, and it's going to pick up those plates and go. Before I move away from the run experience, I will point out one other huge attribute that's a huge priority for us: error handling. Top-notch error handling and flexibility when it comes to recovering from issues that occur. Lab automation is so complex and so important. Errors do occur on automated systems, and you know, it can be anything. It must be recoverable, and the software needs to make it as easy as possible. So I just want to highlight that. I'm not going to show error recovery in Green Button Go, but I always like to highlight it. Let me stop this run, and I want to proceed through the other tabs to, again, just very briefly explain explain how Green Button Go is laid out, and I think that will lend a bit of context as we come to the schedule tab. So this is your run experience. Very simple. The instruments lit up green on the left as they were running. The Gantt chart filled out on the right as it was running, so you could see each step that the plates were going through. And again, it would notify you. Of course, you have since walked away to do something else important, and the system is taking care of this. It'll notify you if you need to come back for something. Let's go to a different tab. Here's where we start our design experience when we first lay out the system, dragging and dropping instruments from the left to show what the system looks like. And here on the right, you've got properties that you would set for a given instrument. After you lay out your system, you would go into the process tab, or we would, as we help our customers to build out methods representative of the science that they're accomplishing. Here's the plate reformatting run that you just saw me execute. Simple 3-column method: sources, destinations, and tips. Other runs that I'm going to schedule from the new scheduling capabilities are Assay A. This is a simple ELISA assay, and then an even simpler kinetic read. So those are the 3 runs that I'm scheduling today. Let's go to the schedule tab. Let's talk about what is new in 6.0. So first of all, you can see we've got a couple tabs at left. I'm going to go to the pre-schedule tab, and this gives me just my very basic pre-scheduling capability. I want to run a plate reformat every night this week at 8 o'clock. the Friday run has not been scheduled yet. Let's get that on the calendar. I'm on the correct method already. I hit start scheduling. It asked me for some input. Now this is critical. This is a new feature in Green Button Go 6.0. The easiest way to define data points that will go into that run at 8 o'clock on Friday, well, the easiest way to get that data in is going to be with the same user screen that you or we defined for the run to begin with. And so instead of popping it up when the run executes at 8 o'clock, which would be a problem since you won't be there, we provide it to you here at scheduling time. Now, we already have the capability to take this data, but the user input format has been improved quite a bit here, and I'm really excited about this addition. So we take our user input. It's got a proposed time, and I'm going to change that to Friday at 8. Close that. You can see the tile looks slightly different from others because it is a tentative time block. When I hit add to schedule, it will be dropped into the calendar permanently. Alright, so again, I'm just going to show you that again. It's very, very simple. Choose your method, start scheduling, user input, OK, and when you're happy with the time, add to schedule. If not, cancel. Alright. Now, let's look at the next scheduling module. And for those of you who are longtime Green Button Go users, you're probably familiar with Assay Planner and Batch Planner. Both capabilities that we've offered for a while now, but we had made them available through the tool menu, and now we have brought them underneath this scheduling umbrella. And so I have the Batch Planner license installed here. This is still a licensed component. But here's the really cool thing. Assay Planner and Batch Planner are now in the same module, and so you get a very seamless experience that offers more power and capability to you as the user. And so this would say AP if I didn't have Batch Planner licensed and only Assay Planner, then it would say AP. So let's actually start with AP. Let's start with the Assay Planner demonstration. Again, same module. I'm going to specify some barcodes. Let me paste these in. And it's going to figure out when those barcodes can run. My incubation times are a bit short on this ELISA assay just because it really makes it easier to visually see what the algorithm is doing. And this is what it does. It takes a template of the times involved in the run for each given plate, and it applies those. So plate 1, for instance, is going to just start at the left and get these times. Plate 2 needs the exact same timing relationships, but it's going to put it in a place where those times can be honored and will not be violated. The incubation times, for instance, those need to be protected, right? And because of the constraint on the imager, we need to spread these plates out a certain amount. Assay Planner figures that out, and it drops these in with an appropriately staggered set of times. Now, what's happening here? This is really cool. It realizes that there's another resource in this run that is a conflict, and that resource is going to create a bottleneck if we continue to bring plates in at this rate. And so the 7th plate needs a little larger delay before it's brought in. And so you're not only getting this staggering capability that protects protects the times by delaying the introduction of each plate, but it's actually got batching capability as well, bringing the first 6 plates in this case, and then delaying a little longer before bringing the other 4 in. Also, for the same reason of protecting those times and protecting your data and your science. So this is a really good example of the benefit of Assay Planner and what it does. Let's look at the calendar and see when this run has been proposed. So it wants to run right here. It's sort of behind my face there. Let's move that. Let's not run it this evening. Let's run it in the morning. I hit the little sun symbol here, and it's going to drop it in tomorrow morning. Perfect. That's a good time. Notice it's going to be after this batch planner run, and so it's making sure that we don't have a conflict there. Let's go ahead and add that to the schedule. Another cool attribute there is because it's looking at the actual times for each of those steps, it has a real clear idea of how long that run's actually going to take. And so that really adds validity to this calendar. Now, let's talk about that batch planner capability. And what does it mean when I say that they're in the same module? Well, batch planner is built with the understanding that for a kinetic read, you need to run cycles on a very strict schedule. And that's what you actually see in this purple job here with multiple cycles. I'm going to specify barcodes for that. And so far the setup has been identical to Assay Planner, right? We even get this wonderful capability here. And that's one of the new things in bringing this all together, really closing that loop and adding some capability to these modules as we do that. With Batch Planner, if the license has been purchased and installed, these options here are what become available. And as I expand that, you'll see we can set properties on a given instrument, such as the image express would actually be the practical one to set parameters on in this case, and then number of cycles. And like with that purple run, I'm going to set up 10 cycles spaced 3 hours apart. And when I click away, it will drop that into the calendar. It found an appropriate place to start it, and then keep going every 3 hours to get that valid imaging done on all of these plates without overlapping with an incompatible job. So again, this critical capability, I'm going to add that to the schedule, where it is really helping to make this decision about when is an appropriate time to run these things. It offers you the flexibility to have your own input on that, and it offers you at a glance a really clear picture of what the work week looks like for this incredibly valuable integration. So that is the GBG 6.0 tool set. And again, I just really want to highlight the fact that this calendar now is showing all the different runs that are scheduled to take place, regardless of what tool was used to add those. And we look forward to adding other scheduling capabilities here in this schedule tab. Thank you. I'm really excited I got to share this with you today, and let's go to questions.
Thank you, Corey. If anyone is interested in more in-depth demonstrations of Green Button Go software, please visit biosero.com and request a demo. And then before we get to audience questions, I did want to give everyone a chance to complete the poll questions. If you've not already, please take a minute now. I would also like to mention that we have Green Button Go software training sessions coming up. There are 3 types of training courses. Our basic training course is ideal for users responsible for operating, maintaining, and automating workflows and requires no prior experience. Our basic plus advanced training covers basic training with additional instruction on advanced method development and troubleshooting tools. Lastly, the developer training is a deep dive into developing drivers, plugins, and custom workflows. With the developer training, programming experience and completion of the basic plus advanced training are required. And if you're interested in any of these training sessions or even a date outside of this, please email us at training@biosero.com. All right, so moving on to questions. Corey, it's great that you don't have to be present when the run starts and that you have the ability to enter information early on. Can the user screens be customized for all the scheduled processes?
Yeah, you can build those user screens for a lot of different purposes. There's really no restriction on making those user screens, and the ability to use them for input at schedule time is currently available with all of those modules that I showed you. And not just one user screen. You can use a list of user screens. I know that a lot of our customers with more complex methods, which are probably more prone to be scheduled in the middle of the night or scheduled ahead of time anyway, they require a fairly complex set of instructions to be input sometimes. So we definitely support that idea of building up your own sort of user input system and actually displaying multiple screens even as you're scheduling these runs.
Well, and then this feature also seems that it would help our customers that are kind of moving away from that low mix, high throughput kind of scenarios, and they're looking at running, multiple projects that have more of a low throughput and kind of giving that availability to their teams. What kind of, what do you think that really means to them? How does this feature enable that?
Yeah, well, I first, I totally agree. I think that we're seeing a lot more multi-user environments and a lot more situations where the software needs to support not just one consistent user or one expert user, but a very wide variety of users. And that's the whole basis of having a calendar where you can see very clearly all that is going to go on with the system ahead of time. So what does it mean for our users? I think that we are providing a stronger and stronger interface for this intuitive view of what the system is going to be used for and when, to answer that question at a glance of when can I start my work? Where does my task fit in here?
Definitely. And I think you hit on it with intuitive, right? It just seems that it's a lot more approachable and that the learning curve to pick this up can be really easy if you are optimizing these user screens for different levels of users. And so it's just pretty intuitive and you can do it at whatever level depending on your group that you're working. Okay, so going on to our next question, it's about error handling and recovery. What if the robot arm crashes during the run? Must the run be aborted? Does the error recovery allow me to salvage assays in progress and continue the run from where the error occurred?
Yeah, and the answer is absolutely. From day one with Green Button Go design, we said it needs to be possible to recover always. And so, an arm crash, that's a real common issue, right, with automated systems. And absolutely, we've made that particular one just as simple as possible to move past.
Yeah, over the years, I know, and compared to other kind of scheduling softwares, that Green Button Go really, in terms of error handling, is really a cut above when it comes to that. Thank you.
Yeah, I would invite all of our customers and those looking at various systems to take a particular look at that. I think if you compare the error handling capabilities of Green Button Go with any other scheduling product, you'll see that we made a very deliberate choice as integrators to make this as easy as possible, not only for you, but for us as we are setting up systems to be able to work with a wide variety of environments and always be able to move forward, not have to go back to square one, potentially losing thousands of dollars worth of samples.
Definitely. Another question. When upgrading from previous versions of Green Button Go to 6.0, what's going to happen to existing pre-scheduled jobs?
Yeah. So the upgrade process with 6.0 is, I'll say that this feature set is a little more in depth than some of our past releases have been. And so I do think that our team, I'll say our team has been encouraged to really work hand in hand with you to make sure that that upgrade goes smoothly. Your past scheduled runs, it comes to another question as well, right? Are past methods compatible with the new system? And the answer there is yes, that we made sure that you could keep using your old methods. That would be a problem, right, if we broke that. So if you are upgrading an old system and you're keeping that method, there is a little bit of a transfer process, and past scheduled stuff will need to be rescheduled on the new calendar if you're adopting the new calendar system. And we can go into further depth with you on a one-on-one basis with that and really support you in that upgrade process to make sure it goes smoothly.
That's perfect. Okay, so if someone's got hundreds of methods, contact us. Let's figure out an easy way to do it.
Well, if somebody has hundreds of methods, then they probably also have some expert GBG users on staff who we can work very closely with to do that. If not, we are 100% committed to walking with you through that process. It's not that complex of a process. A Green Button Go program has one checkbox that will switch it between the old scheduling system and the new one. And so we've made it just as easy as possible. The thing is, if you do have runs that have been scheduled for the future, you would need to reschedule those on the new calendar.
That makes sense.
So, and if you do have hundreds of those, a script can transfer those. We could come up with a way to automate that. That's not going to be we don't want that to be a stumbling block for anybody making this upgrade.
Definitely. Because anyone who's got hundreds of methods is probably a very good customer, and we want to keep them happy.
Well, and on that note, I think the other thing I would encourage everybody to compare is look at our history of walking by our customers through the process. Biosero has always shown that priority one is making sure you are successful. And I would honestly invite everybody to take an honest look at what does our customer service look like. We always want you, the customer, to succeed, and this is no different. We'll make sure it goes well.
Perfect. I've got one more question so far. How do the samples and different processes in a run tracked by your software? Wait, how are the samples and different processes tracked? Okay, it's basically about tracking.
Yeah. So Green Button Go, one of the other really strong points is the incredible flexibility. And so this guy's the limit on what you want to do. But regarding what is default and what's just going to happen without any thought even being put into it is what we call our run data export. And so the timing of every plate on every step, very detailed report is generated and exported as an Excel file. And so we've got extensive data available by default on the times involved in every step of the run for every plate. Now, if you want to go deeper than that, if you want to connect to a limb system to track individual wells or other really detailed data points, We do a lot of LIMS integration, and we have just essentially unlimited options in terms of how we track and export that data. But like I say, the most common one is LIMS, and the default behavior is this extensive plate-by-plate data export.
Okay, and that's independent of the 21 CFR Part 11 compliance module, right? So that which takes it to the next level, which is also tracking users and every single part. If you're
changes,
yeah. So
that's exactly right.
Standard. So this is actually standard as part of Green Button Go. But if you did need to take it to that other level for diagnostics and clinical applications, you could.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Ruth. Yes, that's exactly right. The CFR 2111. And on that note, I'll mention that while it wasn't a what we presented as a major release, 6.0 also, you'll see in the release notes, takes that CFR 2111 compliance feature set and makes it easier to implement through a plugin based system. And so we really have our eyes on that. We understand the trends in the industry using CFR 2111 compliance and those requirements. And so I'll just highlight that we have it. We're continuing to update that, and we've actually made it easier to implement through 6.0.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check if we have any more questions. Nope. So it looks like that's all we had today. Corey, thank you for your presentation, and thanks everyone for attending. Please keep an eye out for additional Biosero webinars. You'll receive an email with the webinar recording shortly, and please feel free to share the information with any colleagues who may benefit. Thank you again, and have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.